Hey, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel or you do not know who I am, my name is Jacob and this is Vintage by Jacob. Now I am a full-time online reseller of vintage and basically any type of clothing I can get my hands on and resell online. Now I primarily sell on the Poshmark app, and that's where I make my full-time income. Like seriously, all my checks come from the Poshmark app, which is super crazy at this point, but I basically just use this YouTube channel to document my day-to-day practices as a business owner and a full-time reseller, and kind of just giving you some transparency and information, education, entertainment about what it's really like to make a full-time living income online and running a full-time business. If that sounds intriguing to you and you'd like to support the channel, or you just want to use this kind of channel as a crutch to get some information to help your business, or if it entertains you or what have you, then hit the subscribe button. That can really help me out, and it can also give you some consistent content, being I post 3 times a week, typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just tips and tricks, entertainment, education about how you can scale and grow your business, just like how I'm trying to do that with mine. If you'd like to further support the channel, hit the like button. That's the easiest way to support the channel. You've heard the spiel before. The YouTube algorithm loves it when you hit the like button. It can really help spread my videos to a wider range of audiences, and that's ultimately my goal, is to help as many people as I can help scale their businesses, or just learn how to make a side income online and just help, I don't know, their lives out. I think it's super beneficial. It's what wakes me up in the morning, and it's really why I keep on posting to YouTube, because I love the gratification that it gives me. And lastly, if you want to talk, you have any comments, questions, concerns, or you just want to chat, hit me up in the comment section below. I would love to talk to each and every one of you down there. Okay, so first and foremost, I apologize for the lack of uploads. Last week I was actually on a small vacation. I was in Montana and Wyoming on a snowboarding trip. I'll probably leave some little bit of footage up in the corner. I really like to enjoy getting outside. I love to snowboard. I love the mountains. I am currently based in Minnesota, where there's really no mountains, and unfortunately it rained all last week, so our snow was completely depleted. It was the end of our outdoor snowboarding season, so I took one last trip to the mountains, and it was a fantastic time. I got a lot of good snowboarding in. It was gorgeous. The weather was great. The snow was awesome. So yeah, that's kind of why I was absent last week, and I'm sorry about that. Might make a little bit of a video because I got some footage on the trip, but we'll see what happens with that. That's kind of not what this channel is used for, but I might experiment with that a little bit. Who knows? But yes, I'm finally back. I got my business back rolling again. I took a whole entire day just to kind of get my life back in order, as one does when they come back from a trip. You know, it's funny, it's always so hard to just unpack. I mean, it's easy to take the bag out of the car, throw it in your house, but it's so hard to get through and unpack the bag. But unfortunately it takes discipline, and that's what I did. I got my life back in order, unpacked, my business back up and operating, getting orders out today, doing everything I need to do to tie up all the loose ends that the trip kind of left me with. So it's been a very, I don't know, long day, long day and a half now, but nonetheless, it was a fantastic trip, and I'm really excited to be back and get my business rolling again. Actually get into the topic of today's video, which I think is going to be a really fun one. I actually had a couple pickups that I got running errands in town, like I do. I actually went to Ragstock again because it's at my local mall. I just hopped in there quick, and they were running a really good clearance. So each one of these items was $3, so $9 total. I got this really nice Vineyard Vines shirt. Super nice shirt. Vineyard Vines sells really well. Probably get $20-25 for this shirt. So super good find there. I got this really nice Untuck-It flannel shirt. This is a really good brand to resell. I think it's kind of on its down peak, but that's okay. It still sells decently well, and for a decent profit. I got this one for $3. It'll probably go between $25 and $30, so definitely some really good profit there. I was really happy to find that one. And then lastly, I found just this nice striped Polo Ralph Lauren thermal shirt. This again was $3. This stuff sells super good for me. It's not a you know, probably sell between $15 and $18, which is still super good because it sells super fast. Yeah, I just picked that up when I was doing errands, just because I had a rag stock at my local mall, so I just swung in there, went through the racks quick, the clearance rack, and I got those 3 items. That'll probably net me between $60-80 total, which is fantastic for just being out doing my casual business as we all do as people. But yeah, it's just kind of a quick reminder, if you have any stores when you're doing errands, I mean, it takes little to no time to run into them, and it can make a big difference in your business. I mean, I know it's only 3 items, but it adds up fast. When you start to realize, you know, $60, $80 added to your inventory every single time you go and run errands, I mean, it's kind of the trickle effect, you know. It takes Rome wasn't built in a day, so that's kind of the theory with stuff like that. So yes. Okay, now let's get on to today's video. So right behind me, I have this little stack of hats. And the reason why this is significant is because all these hats sold in one day. Let me count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hats in one day, which is super, super rad. And there's kind of a backstory behind all this as well. But I'm going to show you an aspect of my business that I think could be very beneficial to your business as well if you're a reseller. So these hats right here, so this pile of 6 hats profited me over $80, which is super crazy, and that was in one day. So I'm kind of going to talk about hats in this video. It's if you've seen all my videos, I typically am wearing a hat. I think I've always worn a hat. You know, I grew up, my dad always wore a baseball cap, my older brother always did, and I always thought that was kind of the cool thing to do. So ever since I can really remember, I remember when I was really young, like 5, 6 years old, I just wanted to have a baseball cap of my own. And I just kind of thought it was a cool thing to do. You know, we like to follow after the ones that kind of lead us to where we are, and so that's why I've kind of always worn a hat to this day. And I have kind of somewhat of a big collection of hats that I like to rotate through. But that is, I think, what gave me the edge when I am out sourcing as to what to look for when I buy hats to resell. Because I always look through the hat section, and that's kind of the lesson that I want to tell you guys here today. But first and foremost, I'm going to go through these hats. I'm going to show you what they sold for, what I'm profiting off of them, because I think it's really interesting and there's a lot of valuable information that you can take. I'm actually just going to go right through the pile. They're not in any specific order. Some of them sold for more than the others. Some of them sold for not that much. But once you hear how I acquire hats and how little money they cost to acquire, it really can open your eyes as to how big of a game changer hats can be. So this first one right here is this Nike Caledonia. It's a golf hat, so it has the Nike golf tag on the back. This one sold for $7. Next up, we have this Calvin Klein's jeans hat. This one is super cool. It's like a dad style hat, embroidered. This one sold for $18. Next up, we have this Puka Nuategs corduroy hat. This one sold for $15. Next up, we have this really cool vintage Pepsi hat, Nuategs, super cool, like felt graphic on it. This one sold for $23. Next up, we have this vintage checkered trucker style hat. It's got a leather back strap, nice little gold tab, super cool. This one sold for $15. Next up, we have this A-Light athletic bedazzled style hat. This one sold for $6. Okay, so I just showed you the hats. I showed you what they sold for, right around $85 total revenue on these hats. And the magic behind this is that this pile of hats that I sold in one day for $85 costed me less than $5 to source. And that is the real magic when dealing with hats. If you know how to source hats properly and you know what to look for, they are a huge profit machine. I'm going to show you guys the original post that really opened my eyes to selling hats, because I never really dabbled with them much before, but it all started when quarantine first hit. Thrift stores were closed. I still, you know, felt the need to source items for my inventory in order to keep on growing my business and not let the shutdowns stop my personal progress with my business. I was trying to just figure out different avenues in order to keep scaling, and not stay stagnant. So what I did was I actually hit up the local markets, the Facebook buy and sell, Craigslist, Letgo, all those different channels in order to actually do just peer-to-peer, bartering. As far as just finding people in my local community who are willing to sell me their clothes and their inventory and their items, and in return I can add to my inventory. So here's the original post. I'll actually leave a picture up. I actually am very happy I was able to find a picture of it, that I actually had a picture of the original listing. But this is it. I remember scrolling through Facebook buy and sell one day, looking for people selling, you know, bags of clothes or whatever, because sometimes you can go on Facebook and people will be like, oh, garbage bag full of old clothes, don't wear them anymore, $5, you know. Those are the types of listings I was looking for, where I could go pick up a good amount of clothes for very cheap, and I could just do the sifting myself, kind of like what I do in the thrift anyways. But I stumbled across this post, and it was 250 hats for $160. So what I thought was really unique about this, and I never really thought about it before, but I remember seeing just a couple, because when I first started reselling, I was super into the vintage like clothing, and that's kind of where the whole Vintage by Jacob came in. I was super into just vintage clothing in general, but this post really got me inspired because I saw just a couple hats inside that initial picture. I saw like an old NASCAR hat and an old farming hat, and I knew that, you know, okay, you know, there might be a couple hats in there that I could probably sell for $15-20, you know, a couple really cool like vintage style hats, and that's what initially drew me into the picture. At first I didn't even think, like, you know, $160 for 250 hats, that's a lot of inventory I can add, you know, 250 different items I can add to my inventory. But I didn't think about that initially. I just thought about the vintage hats in there, so that's what intrigued me. I hit the I'm interested button. I think that like Facebook has a little button where you hit the blue button and it says still available. That's what it is. I sent the guy a message and asked if it was still available, and he replied back and said yes, still available. And at that point I kind of, you know, it took him a few hours to reply. I kind of lost interest. I wasn't in the heat of the moment anymore, and I didn't even open his message. I was like, you know, I'll think about it, you know, might be worth it, might not be. I kind of disregarded it, and I slept on it for an entire day, which could have been a bit big, which in hindsight could have been a pretty poor mistake, but I didn't even think about it for a day. And just to give you a little bit more detail about this specific listing, so this specific listing was about 2 hours south of where I lived, so I would have had to make a 2-hour commute to pick up the hats, bring them back, and probably about a 5-hour trip in total. But just keep that in mind. So yes, I slept on it for a day, you know, everything was going good, you know, I next day, business as usual. I don't even think about the hats, and then all of a sudden my very good friend, he contacts me and he said, hey, I have to go give my sister a ride to this place that's 2 hours south of us, pretty close to where these hats are located. You know, do you want to come with me? I don't really want to make the commute alone. You know, I just got to drop her off and then we'll be right back. You know, if you got time, I'd love if you want to come with me so I don't have to make the commute alone. And, you know, I didn't even think about the hats again. And I was like, sure, you know, I got some time to kill the day. It'd be fun to catch up, all that stuff. So anyways, he came, he picked me up. We're going to bring his sister down to this area that's 2 hours south of where I am. And it didn't even occur to me at first, but finally we were about an hour out to where we had to drop his sister off at, and I thought about it and I was like, you know, I messaged a guy on Facebook yesterday. He has a big collection of hats in this area. Do you mind if I hit him up, and if he says they're still available, I think I'm gonna buy them, you know? And I kind of just was spur of the moment, like, you know, if I'm closer to the area and I kind of got a free ride there, it's probably worth buying them, you know? And he said sure, you know. So pull out my phone, wasn't even that excited about it first of all, which is again another poor mistake. But I messaged the guy again and I said, hey, you know, it's still got the hats available. Just kind of thinking, you know, I'd pick them up because I'm in the area now, you know, kind of the barrier was removed. And shortly later he replied and said, yeah, they're still available. I said, okay, yeah, I'll come pick up the hats, you know. Nobody else is coming to pick them up. Be happy to. I'll be in the area. And we set a time and made a deal to pick up the hats. So, you know, again, really wasn't that excited about it. Kind of just like, you know, I'm in the area, might as well pick them up. You know, it's just, yeah, I mean, 160 kind of sounds expensive. And it's nothing I really dabbled with before, and whatever. But I was gonna go for it. So everything went good. We were in the area. We pulled up to the guy's place. He invited me in to look at the collection of hats that he had, and I was absolutely astonished. And I didn't understand why it didn't hit me at first, but 250 hats is so many hats. When he had them all laid out on his basement floor, for a second I didn't even think that they were going to fit in the vehicle that we drove down there. I was like, holy cow, 250 hats. And at that moment I knew okay, this is going to be a very, very good deal. So I told him, you know, I'm going to take them, you know, like, let's get the deal done. I want the hats. Let's do it, you know. And we get to talking, and this is the beauty about doing deals in person with people, because you can really understand the backstory about all this stuff and understand where it comes. And this guy had a good passion for collecting, and a lot of these hats, you know, he really cherished and all this stuff. And I reassured him that they were going to go on to people who wanted them. You know, obviously we're going to pay a price for them, so they wanted them, you know, bad as well. And he really liked that aspect of it. So we just get to talk and build into the rapport. Super cool guy. I mean, I wish I could deal with people like that all the time. And right next to that stack of hats, he actually had, let me grab it. He actually had this huge container of scarves. Right next to him, and he said, and right before I handed him the $160 for the hats, he was like, "Hey, you know, I've been trying to sell these scarves and I can't get anybody to bite on them. Do you just wanna take them as well?" I mean, the guy was moving, so his hands were kind of tied a little bit, and I told him, yeah, I mean, if you're, I'll give you $20 just to take the ease off your mind, so you're not giving them away for free. And lo and behold, check these out. Just a huge pile of scarves. There's probably about, I want to say, around 100 scarves in here as well. So for $180, I ended up with 350 pieces of inventory that I was able to add to my inventory, which was just a crazy deal, super cheap. So in total, I actually paid just over 50 cents per unit, including the scarves and the hat. I think the actual number was 57 cents. Regardless, I just paid over 50 cents for 350 units that I was able to add to my inventory. And actually, I just sold this scarf as well today, and I sold this one for $10. So I guess the moral of the story is I have been consistently selling hats and scarves now since the beginning of the pandemic. It's been probably close to a year now, maybe just a bit less, probably about 10 months. And I have made thousands of dollars off of just selling hats and scarves alone. So here's the moral of the story. You're not going to find deals like that every single day. The 250 hats gave me a really good boost as to how I can source items for super cheap. You're not going to find a deal like that every day, but it gave me a very good base inventory to just keep on adding hats to. And I have consistently found, going to the thrift on the days where there's sales, and sometimes even not, I can pick up hats for $25 to $1. In a lot of cases, really good sellable hats. And if you know what to look for, so a lot of times if you can find, you know, the name brands, the Nikes, the Adidases, anything really cool like vintage style hats, so like the Calvin Klein or this Pepsi one, or even this really cool blank like checkered one. You know, I sell hats all day long between $12, $15, $20, $25. But yeah, I pick up hats every single time I can get them for less than $1, and it has really added a lot of value to my inventory. And like I said, I have sold thousands of dollars worth of hats over these past 10 months. It's really kind of opened my eyes to a different type of aspect of reselling. And the nice thing about hats too is that they're small. They're really easy to store. They don't take up a ton of space. I just have a couple racks behind me. If you've seen some of my videos of my kind of inventory room, you've seen a big shelf with a whole bunch of hats on them. You know, I can store 300-400 hats on there at a given time without taking it really takes up not much space at all. It's way less than what an actual like other garment would be, like a shirt or a sweater or something. So here's the thing, and here's kind of the disclaimer that I want to share with you guys. But if you understand this part of it, you can really leverage it and use it in your business. So after I bought that big batch of hats, listed them all, it kind of took a while to get consistent sales with hats, you know, just like anything else too. I wouldn't say hats sell extremely fast. Obviously, if you have cool vintage ones like this one, you know, stuff like that sells pretty fast. If something's really cool or really good quality, it'll sell fast. But a majority of my hats, you know, they kind of just trickle sale. But here's the thing, I was able to build up a super big base inventory of hats that now I sell hats on the daily. I probably make at least $10, $20, $30 a day on hats, and that adds up over time. I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say I make, you know, around $1,000 a month just selling hats. Just from initially getting that big base layer of hats, it's really paid off in the long run. It's really cool to see. Scarves, I'm not going to touch on this very much because I don't think there's a huge market for scarves. Some of these are really cool and they sell decent. I maybe sell, you know, 1, maybe 2 a week scarves between 10 and 15 bucks. So it's not a, these were just a really nice bonus, and it really averaged out the cost of my hats good. But yeah, these have been kind of trickling a little bit too. But yeah, I think if you guys start looking for hats, it can really make a big difference in your business. I know it has for me. So yeah, that's kind of the moral of the story. It's kind of like a story time business example I'd like to share with you. I thought it'd be a fun video to film, and it really sparked the story because I sold a lot of hats today. So yeah, that's it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna have another really good video on Wednesday. And yeah, if you guys would like to see any of the snowboarding content for my trip, let me know in the comment section down below. It'd be kind of fun to share kind of that aspect of my life too. I kind of just want to use this channel to provide as much transparency as I can. I think there's some fun entertainment and educational things I can provide you to in the whole aspect of ways. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys have a super good rest of your day. I hope it's profitable. I hope it's fun. I hope everything's just going good in your guys' life. So yes, be good to one another. I will see you guys on Wednesday. That's all I have for you guys today. Peace.